Welcome back to Behind the Bower. I'm your host, Susan Martin, Executive Director of Bower Center for the Arts. On our podcast, we offer inspiring conversations, a fresh look at arts in our community, and provide spotlights on artists, performers, collaborative partners, educators, and organizations. We want to celebrate the universal expression of human experiences through arts, culture, and our community. Today, I'm really excited because we're going to talk about the 10th annual Curry Bower exhibit, which is currently open to the public at Bower Center for the Arts. It's open during our normal operating hours of Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m., and Fridays, 11 to 5. And gallery admission is always free. This wonderful exhibit's going to be showing through March 30th. And a little background about the Curry Bower exhibit. We're in our 10th year. This is, it was inaugurated in 2015. It's held to honor Edna Curry and Dr. John Bower, who were primary benefactors for Bower Center for the Arts, basically how and why we are in existence, which we are extremely thankful to that family. And it was established originally as a judged exhibit, but not juried. So that it enables any artists 18 years and older who want to participate and not be subject to that jurying phase where their artwork has to be selected to be in an exhibit for their work to be accepted. So pretty much I always recommend, especially new artists, up-and-coming artists, or artists that are just wanting to get their feet wet, this is an excellent exhibit to enter because any piece you are going to enter is going to be accepted. In 2023, what some of our guests may not know, we added the youth division, which was established to kind of open up the exhibit to the younger artists, give them the opportunity to experience taking part in an exhibit, a professional exhibit, and hopefully to grow their interests in the arts. So we're really excited about that. This year's exhibit, there are 140 works of art that are on display. It's amazing, and represented by 50 artists in the adult division. The youth division this year, we have 5 artists represented, and there are 10 artworks on display for the youth division. So just a little bit about what people can see. They can see 2D, 3D art, painting, drawing, photography, mosaics, stained glass, woodwork, ceramics, pottery, fiber art, mixed media, a little bit of everything. And today I'm very excited because we have 3 guests with us on the show, and all of these guests are artists and very involved in Bower Center for the Arts and are all showing in the Curry Bower exhibit. So I want to welcome Desmond Black, Robert Keith, and Virginia Dickens to the show this morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So I'm going to allow them to introduce themselves a little bit and tell who they are. So we'll just kind of go around the room, and I'll go to my right. Put it on Des.
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Desmond Black, and I am on the board of the Bower Centre since 2016. But more importantly, I try to be an artist. My interest is in woodworking. So I tend to call myself a wood artisan than artist. I'm still growing in that space. And I like to make things or create things that are unique and special, one-offs. Some recent projects I did last year was an 11-foot black walnut conference table for a business. I made 3 large dining tables out of different mediums and also different design styles, and 2 queen beds. That's the big stuff. In between that, I'm a prolific wood turner. So I love to turn wood, all different types of species of wood. Gluing things together is called segments, and making multicolored bowls. I also teach. I teach at Vector Space downtown Lynchburg, and I teach woodworking down there as well for high school students. My art piece is a segmented bowl, about 12 inches diameter, out of curly maple. That's the main body, with a segmented bottom made out of 4 different woods, sort of like a mosaic pattern. And it is very unique. It's one-off. So I've submitted that to see what it's like. The Curry Bower exhibit, to me, is an excellent non-juried event for new up-and-coming artists. And those that are advanced, but more for the upcomers, because if you want to submit this work, it's going to give you a great learning experience in the processes that are required. you've got to do what? And I got to do this photo in what format? Oh man, how do I do that? So it walks you through this process. Not only that, but it also gives you experience in what are the presentation requirements. If this is going to hang, what style of hanging is it? And sawtooth hangers aren't really the right thing to use. So you learn all of this. So you're going to learn from this experience to the point where you might be brave enough with enough experience to go for a juried event coming up.
Absolutely.
So to me, art is a creative, relaxing, but also challenging experience. It certainly has been for me when I do lots of one-offs and I have to go through that creative process. And the Bauer Centre provides the environment for you to experience this. This is what's really cool. And pretty much across all the mediums that we've just spoke about before.
Absolutely. Yeah. Robert, tell us a little bit about yourself and what interests you have.
Okay.
And
Let's see. So I've been teaching at the Bauer for a little while. I taught a drawing class so far, proposed a few others. We'll see how that goes. I also teach at Radford University. I've been teaching classes there for the last 2 years. A little bit of a drive, but it's not that big of a deal. Let's see. So,
well, how did you get involved in the arts? At what age, and then how did that experience affect you, and how did you grow into it?
Right. Thank you. So always been interested in drawing, always been interested in art, but I didn't know that it was something that I could do. It wasn't until I got out of the military. I was working for a few years, and I met somebody who was going to a junior college, and they invited me to a drawing class. And then I was just like, wait, you could do this? This is something you could do? And I enrolled immediately in the next semester. And from then on, I've been, I got my associate's degree, then I got my bachelor's, then I went and got my master's, and have been working in the arts ever since. So once I realized it was something that I could actually do, I've been doing that primarily. So I think my primary way of making art, at least recently, has been drawing, but I'm a painter. I mean, I have a little painting studio sort of set up. It's a little bit non-functional at the moment because my wife and I we've moved here 2 years ago. It's such a smaller space. We've had to, like, anytime we want to do something, we have to move things out of the way, but that's just kind of the way that goes. But so primarily painting, my paintings usually mostly consist of abandoned spaces. I'm really interested in sort of the mess and the way buildings and things like that are kind of crumbling. And painting that in such a way that I kind of blow out the colors a little bit. Make something sort of that is usually considered sort of ugly, so interesting and beautiful again. Yeah.
And what have you entered into the current exhibit?
So it's I can't remember the name of it all.
Wait a minute.
Well, you're looking that up.
I'll look it up.
While you're looking that up, I have a quick story about the Curry Bauer exhibit. I was so used to entering shows that are juried that I didn't realize that the Curry Bauer had this really awesome feature where if you're not somebody that enters a lot of shows, you can enter this show and get in and show your work and get that experience, as Deb was just telling us. So when it came time to drop off, I was still waiting for an email to tell me if I'd gotten in or not. And then I got an email from Dottie saying, "Are you going to drop off?" Oh my God, I'm so sorry. So totally understand that now.
So I show that you, entered South Highway 1 outside of the old wooden house and oil on canvas. Is that correct?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes. So one of the things my wife and I do when I'm searching for these, we'll drive around, we take these trips, we kind of explore where we're living. And this building is actually in South Carolina, where we used to live. And we would, we just take these long trips, and we found this old abandoned house. And as long as it's not, there's no trespassing signs or whatever like that. Sometimes we do trespass a little bit, but we never take anything. We never break anything. We just take pictures and leave. And every now and then, if I have enough time and space, sometimes I'll sketch out kind of what I'm thinking. And then I go back to the studio and paint it. But each one of these places is a real place. I name it after the road that it's next to, rather than like an address or something like that. So if people were inclined, they could possibly search these, find that road or something and go find it themselves. Many of these places don't exist anymore.
Mm-hmm.
As my wife and I have sort of driven around, and we go back to those places. Sometimes they're bulldozed and no longer exist.
That's kind of neat because you've kind of preserved the history of that place as
Yeah.
well. Yes. Well, let's go over to Virginia. Welcome. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I have to say I started in art at a very young age, and I was always drawing or creating something. So when I got into high school, it's kind of funny. I was recruited by the Army, and it was either go into art or be a jet pilot.
Wow.
But I'm going to use the excuse my feet were flat. Anyway, yeah, so when I graduated high school, I did go into art school. I went to the Ringling College of Art and Design and got my degree in illustration. And then because I was New Jersey based, I finished off some portfolio classes and some other interesting classes that were at the School of Visual Arts in New York City. Once I graduated, I got pretty much went directly into publishing. And the way I got there was I was illustrating for some of the publications that they had, and then realized that graphic design paid a lot more. So I kind of introduced myself into the publishing industry, and from there it kind of grew. I started an advertising agency that specialized into retail technology before it was kind of the bellwether, and had a very good career with that. Then I turned my interest back into creating again.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was taking a lot of photographs, and I had really mad Photoshop skills from what I was doing. And so I started designing and creating these pieces that were almost spiritual. And they would be layers and layers of different photographs of mine, different paintings, different drawings. And I pursued that for a good 12 years. I bought a large format printer and started printing on canvases and stretching those. And I've done a lot of shows throughout the years. And then I ended up in Bedford because my mother and father had moved down to Virginia years before that. And so to take care of my mom, I moved down here, and I immediately got interested into the town of Bedford, and I was at the electric company when they were a studio and a gallery over there. So I put that large format printer in there in my 10 by 10 space. I don't think it was even that. I think it was like 7 by 7, and started doing that. And then I don't know what happened. I moved from there over to the Bauer Center. And once I had my studio over at the Bauer Center, I pursued printing, large format printing, and still creating. But then, I don't know, something happened and I got interested in clay.
Yes. I think you did take a clay class at the Bauer Center.
I did. And I think I made
kind of sparked your interest.
I think I made 3 of those classes.
And then you were on your own.
Yeah. So that's kind of my new pursuit is in the clay. And I've since made a studio at my home and got a kiln and got introduced to making glazes and the different pottery processes. And now I'm creating pottery.
Very successfully, I might add.
Yeah, I really took to it. I really enjoy it. And the hours just go by like nothing. And so I have 3 pieces that are in the Curry Bauer show. And they're kind of a mixed media. I'm very interested in combining things, especially like the art that I was creating in the 2-dimensional. I was using layers of different, paintings, drawings, photographs, and I kind of feel the same way with the clay. So one of my pieces, I've used a piece of driftwood, and that serves as the knob on top of a lidded jar. And one of the other ones, I started playing. I was getting some electrical work done,
Mhm.
and my electrician asked me if I wanted all the old wires.
Uh-huh.
And so I started playing with those and creating some like brooches and things like that, hammering them out. And so when I made this little white pot, I said, boy, wouldn't it be interesting if I could take one of those brooches that I made or pendant and press that into the clay and then actually made a real necklace out of it for the pot.
Yes.
Yeah, so things like that are interesting to me. And so this is the first show where I'll be showing my ceramics.
That's awesome.
I'm very excited.
Very cool.
Yeah, very exciting. So it's interesting because listening to your stories about how you became involved in the arts, they're all very different, and I think that's probably pretty common with a lot of artists. They have different experiences, and I don't think Des, you mentioned that you were in the professional world
Yeah.
for how many years before you? I mean, did you always do your woodworking, or was that something that came later?
I tinkered with woodworking as well as building my own house back home in Australia, designed and built it. So, the rough and tumble type woodworking versus more fine art woodworking. But since I retired, I've really got serious now. Like Virginia said, I've got a 2,000 square foot workshop at home, a studio, so people can come and look at my work or come and discuss something I want them to build. So I've tinkered in that space. I was an engineering drawing guy. So I had 4 years engineering drawing, so I could do all the technical drawing, could read technical drawings and all that sort of stuff. So that I can sketch.
Yeah.
So if someone's talking to me about something, I can, on a piece of paper, sketch it out roughly on an angle so they can see all the dimensions of it. And they go, oh, wow, that's what I was talking about. Or no, that's not what I meant. And boy, that saves a lot of time and disappointment too. So really, I've started to grow into this artist thing, whatever that is, in the last 6 years.
That's awesome.
At the end of life.
I don't think you're near that yet.
Oh, you know what's really neat is Des and I, we got together and created a piece for Doors Reimagined. Yeah, so that was really fun. So I could use my artistic skills and put them together with his, and I ended up buying it because I liked it so much.
That was Portals.
Yes, portals.
Yeah,
Portals. That was it. Yeah. That's one of my favorite things too, is when we do something, then artists collaborate, and we are working on something for later this year. So be on the lookout of an opportunity for collaborations and to help fundraise for the Bauer Center for the Arts.
Yeah,
That's
sounds
something coming
Yeah.
that we're working on. So any of you can chime in, and I always used to say young artists, but artists can start, as Des is also can attribute to,
60s.
at any age. And there are a lot of individuals and artists that I have met that wait until, I've always dabbled, but I worked, I raised a family, very busy, and then became an empty nester and started going back to my work. So for any artist, up and coming, new, young, what would be your recommendations on how they can become more involved in their arts community if they're, I get a lot of them that are at home in their home studios, but they haven't kind of come out into the community yet. What would be your recommendations on how to become more involved?
I think for me anyways, is just come in and take a class. Whatever it might be, but whether it's pottery or drawing or anything that's offered at the Bauer, just sort of getting your feet wet again in that sort of respect can help sort of spark it. Because just looking at us all and thinking about that, everybody kind of has a yearning to make something, I think, and giving people those opportunities, I think, it just makes for a better world, really, when we're all having the ability to make something.
Absolutely. The other thing is just come visit the Bauer. We've got studio artists, 7 or 8 studios in the building, and there's always an artist there somewhere that you can just come in and have a look at what they're doing, and if someone's there, they're happy to talk to you, and it's a very safe environment for that. So you're not putting yourself out there at risk or saying, "Oh, I'm making a fool of myself." That's not happening at all. It's more of a sharing experience, and there's tons of art there to look at, and something will pull at your heart, and that's maybe is all the seed you need to get going.
Yeah, I think the Bauer Center is kind of a community center in some respects because there's always something going on, whether it's the performing arts or music,
Mm.
all different kinds of things. And if you just go and see a show, it might spark something,
Right,
you know,
right.
and there's plenty of ways to actually volunteer at the Bauer Center too.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's interesting because I talk to a lot of individuals that say, I've never been in the Bauer Center before. And, I'll ask why, and they'll say, well, I'm not an artist. And I'm like, well, you don't have to be an artist to come into the Bauer Center. And why, and they also say, well, I have no experience. And I think that is the best way and opportunity to come into the Bauer Center. There is no experience necessary. Jump into any class. People are like, well, I'm a beginner. That's fine. Our instructors are going to, and Robert, I think you can attest to that. We'll work with any level of student when they come into a class.
Absolutely.
It's we're not there intending to be at a higher level. Sometimes we'll offer something that might be a more intermediate class, like clay and pottery. So if you've come and taken one of the initial classes and you want to grow upon that and learn some different techniques, yes, we will offer that. But for most of our classes, you can just walk right in and just be creative in your own way. And something else that I find really interesting, I love it when the youth come in because they're so excited to participate in the programming at the Bauer Center because it's so different than the art programming they get at school. And they will look at you and they'll say, well, what are we creating? And you'll say, whatever you want. And they say, I can do whatever I want. Because they are more structured in school and everybody is taught to make the same thing. And while, yes, they're teaching them certain techniques and skills, they're a little bit more, structured in what they can create. And when they come to Bauer Center, they're so excited because sky's the limit and they can do whatever they want.
That is fantastic for kids. I've had some high schoolers in the past, school I used to teach at, when I would give them an open-ended assignment like that, where there's no specific, rule or thing to follow. Some of them get a little scared. And,
Absolutely.
Just sometimes giving them that opportunity to sit there and think about it and be critical about what they're gonna make is really helpful.
Yes. Yeah.
It's really growing.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I know with the pottery studio, they have classes where you can open studio time. So if you've been creating, you've taken a class, you can come in and you can further your skills, and there's always somebody there to ask questions, and you can pretty much do your own thing.
Absolutely. We offer that with both the clay and pottery and the mosaics classes have open studio times. I'd love to see us be able to offer more of that for any really opportunity. We do have some space that if somebody just wanted to come in and spend some additional time on a piece of work, a drawing or a painting, we'd always find them a location if they wanted to sit down. We do have the smaller classroom space that even if there's another class going on, they can go into that space and have their privacy and work on something as well. So we're always very happy to have the artists and or participant return and come in their own free time if they just are inspired and they feel like they're ready to create at that point in time. Sometimes it, I'm sure, hits you more than a scheduled class at 6:00 in the evening. So we hope that they'll feel comfortable in coming by and utilizing tools and space as they see fit. We'd love to have that.
Yeah, and one other thing that I wanted to mention was, it doesn't matter what experience you've had. If you change, like I was doing two-dimensional things and then I changed to pottery, they both helped each other for me to understand, just the mechanics of things, or maybe, you go back to the beginning and you think differently about things when you've had different experiences through different mediums. Yeah.
It's true. My wife is I say an accomplished fiber artist, and she would argue with me, but she's really good, but she's never trained or been taught to paint. And so now she's actually doing a class with Laurie,
Yeah,
painting class. Yeah,
right.
it's about 11 ladies in the class, and learning technique and everything else. And she said, "Oh, well, I can apply this to fabric."
Mm-hmm.
Right,
So,
exactly.
and although she's got a really keen eye in colour and all the mixing of colour, mixing that in a paint mode is different.
Yes, it
And
is.
she's learning that skill now as well. So she's a lot more confident now to attack something that requires more painting on the fabric. So, everything feeds on everything. It's
It
amazing.
does. It does. Yes, it enriches you.
Mm.
Sometimes when you pick up that one, the color mixing, for example, you pick up that one extra skill, it gives you so much of a confidence boost moving forward with your new medium.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, we've just about come to the end of our discussion or our podcast today. So I want to thank the three of you for coming out, because it was amazing to hear from your different perspectives and provide a different view or look at not only the arts, but your involvement and your exposure to Bauer Center for the Arts. And I really, really appreciate that. I do want to let our listeners know that this Friday, March the 8th, we are having the reception for the Curry Bauer exhibit. It is open to the community, no charge. It's from 5 to 7. Please come out if you haven't had the opportunity to see the exhibit, but also meet with some of the artists. They will be in attendance, and you can talk to them, ask questions, look at their work. And then it's also the awards reception. So this is a judged show, so the awards will be given out during that evening. Presentations will start around 6 o'clock. There'll be light refreshments. Our judge, Gina Luthien Stanley, is that right? Luthien?
Mm-hmm.
Luthien Stanley was our judge for this exhibit. She'll be in attendance. She'll give a little presentation about the exhibit, and what her thoughts were and what she saw. I know she was there for quite a long time the day she came to judge the exhibit. She
Oh my God,
said it was
140
so
works, yeah.
yes, it was so overwhelming, and she said it was just amazing.
She's
the
on
works.
video too, isn't she?
She will be on video. We have a snippet of her app now, and after the awards reception, her full video will be up that will talk about the pieces that she selected for the award winnings. So please come out and join us for that this Friday, 5 to 7, or come in anytime to take a look at the exhibit. And if you can't join us in person, the entire exhibit is available online on our website for viewing. And again, the videos will be on there as well. So be sure to check out that and all of our programming at bowercenter.org. So thank you for joining us today. Thank you to my guests. And we look forward to seeing more on Behind the Bauer next week.
Thanks. My
Thank
pleasure.
you.
Thank you.